It doesn't matter. It is completely irrelevant. I'm talking about your age.
A question about the Anakim.
And a once powerful, ruined city.
All of this and more, we're going to explain next on Quick Study. Stay there. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Rod Hembry.
I'm Janice.
And I'm Corey.
Welcome to the Quick Study television program. We are delighted that you decided to join us today. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, we are going through the world's best-selling, the world's oldest, the world's most proven, and the world's most controversial book. It is, are you ready for this? The Bible. That's right, the Bible. The 66 books written by 40 authors over thousands of years, all with the same theme. And today we are in Joshua chapter 11 through 14. Now, we're going to be talking about your age. When is it completely irrelevant? Age is such a big deal in our society today, but there comes a time when it means nothing. And I'm not just talking about eternity after life. In this life, there's a time when age doesn't matter. And we'll find out what that circumstance is.
Very
Corey,
cool.
what about the age of all the archaeological finds?
Well, we could get into that, but we're going to dig into the city of Hatzor. There is a lot there. It's actually still under excavation today, but we're going to get you caught up on what's going on.
An aged city of Hatzor, very controversial city as well, during the time of the conquest. We'll talk about that. Stay there. Bible challenge.
Well, I don't know how challenging it is for the two of you. You've been answering the questions right so many times. Who...
That's Corey. Corey's smart.
No.
So here it is.
All right.
Who was known as the greatest man among the Anakim? Was that Arba, Anak, or Ahiman?
It's common modern scientific knowledge that the Earth floats in free space, suspended by nothing, affected only by gravity. But ancient sources of man declared, as in the case of China, that the Earth was suspended on the back of a turtle. Or in India, an elephant held the Earth up. Or in ancient Greece, Atlas held the Earth up. But the Bible is unique in that this ancient document is the only one that makes a true statement. Job 26:7 says, God hangs the earth on nothing.
Joshua chapter 11 begins by introducing us to this infamous king, this character. His name is Jabin, the king of Hatzor. Now, we see how Hatzor plays out in the Bible. Not only does it show up in Joshua, but it shows up again in Judges and again in the book of Samuel and the Kings. What happens is, and what happened throughout the history of Israel in the Promised Land, is that some cities were like thorns in Israel's flesh. And so they would be periodically retaken over, recaptured, and then Israel would have to fight against it. And Hatzor is one of such cities. Now take a look. We're going to explore the city of Hatzor. According to the Bible, the city of Hatzor was destroyed by Joshua after the defeat of armies resisting the Israelites. Joshua first captured this head city and then he burned it. Archaeology has shed light on just how difficult that should have been. The city had very heavily fortified, thick walls of stone and mud brick. There was a large lower city and a smaller upper city to Hatzor. At least 3 temples there show evidence of violent destruction at the time of Joshua. Even after this thorough destruction, Hatzor managed to rise again, gaining some prominence back in the land. Years later, during the time of the judges of Israel, Deborah and Barak destroy Hatzor once again. And once again, the archaeological record shows us this destruction, even preserving idols and statues that had their hands and their heads taken off. What is so awesome about the book of Joshua and the book of Judges is that so many of these cities, so many of these kings and people groups are showing up in archaeology, in separate historical documents that come from the Middle East. And it's absolutely amazing because not only do we have the privilege of having the stories written out for us in the Bible, but we also have the privilege of having access to translations of cuneiform tablets and different documents and stelas that reinforce what the Bible tells us.
We are studying Joshua chapter 11 through 14. That's our reading assignment. Let's put it in the truth text. Joshua stops to record all the testimonies of God's faithfulness. He records the successful conquest in the northern tribes in chapter 11. In chapter 12, it is a summary of the land that was conquered on the east side of the Jordan when Moses was alive. Chapter 13 shows the land remaining that needs to be confronted, while chapter 14 brings us to the land divided west of the Jordan. Notice that God gives Joshua specific lines and specific points when assigning the land.
Joshua 14, verses 6 through 15. Then the children of Judah came to Joshua in Gilgal, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh the Kenizzite, said to him, You know the word which the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land. And I brought back word to him as it was in my heart. Nevertheless, my brethren who went up with me made the heart of the people melt, but I wholly followed the Lord my God. So Moses swore on that day, saying, Surely the land where your foot has trodden shall be your inheritance and your children's forever, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God. And now, behold, the Lord has kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years, ever since the Lord spoke this word to Moses, while Israel wandered in the wilderness. And now, here I am this day, 85 years old. As yet, I am as strong this day as on the day that Moses sent me. Just as my strength was then, so now is my strength for war, both for going out and for coming in. Now therefore, give me this mountain of which the Lord spoke in that day, for you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and fortified. It may be that the Lord will be with me, and I shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord said. And Joshua blessed him, and gave Hebron to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. Hebron, therefore, became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he wholly followed the Lord God of Israel. And the name of Hebron formerly was Kirjath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim. Then the land had rest from war. Joshua chapter 14, verses 6 through 15.
Really, there is no substitute for a great story like this. All the things that Caleb believed when he was part of the 12 spies that 40 years earlier went into the camp of the Canaanites, and all the people were afraid and panicked, and fear was running in their hearts, and they said, God has brought us here to die. We might as well go back into Egypt. There were two people, really, Joshua and Caleb, who said, no, we saw what was good. So 2 out of 12 saw what was good. Well, this passage shows the faithfulness of God in our personal commitment to him. Caleb and Joshua were the only two spies 40 years earlier who had faith. And that faith kept them both young and powerful in their purpose. So after 40 years, now 85 years of age Caleb is, God's faithfulness makes Caleb stronger than ever. Age doesn't matter. We need not be limited in age in this world when it comes to God's faithfulness and our purpose God gives us. If we serve God with our whole heart, God will keep our hearts strong until the day we are finished with the purpose He gives for us. And so age doesn't matter when you're dealing with God's purpose. As a matter of fact, you will find that every season of your life, my father told me this. I asked him recently, before he passed away and went home to be with Jesus Christ on June the 10th. It was in May, and I said, so Dad, how does it feel, to have all these grandkids now? He said, Rod, every season in life brings with it God's purpose. What a wise man he was. It's true. And so if you think that, like this world says, you're only good, this is a young man's game or whatever, God has a purpose for every season of your life. Now, the good thing is He doesn't roll out the purpose for every season of your life that you see it, but as you go through life, God has a purpose for you in that season. And so age doesn't matter when it comes to God's purpose. Now, here is chapter 14, verses 6 to 9. I want to show you this. This is Joshua 14, 6 to 9. Then the children of Judah came to Joshua in Gilgal. And Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, he was the Kenizzite, he said to him, the word which the Lord had said to Moses, the man of God, concerning you and me at Kadesh Barnea. I was only 40 years old, Moses, and when Moses, the servant of the Lord, came from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land, and I brought back word to him that was in my heart. So faith was in his heart. Nevertheless, my brethren who went up with me, they made the heart of the people melt. But I wholly followed the Lord my God. So Moses swore on that day, saying, surely the land where your foot is trodden shall be your inheritance and your children's forever, because you have wholly followed the Lord my God. This is truth to live by, number one. Beloved, it is very important to know the promises of God for your life and to keep the promises of God close to you. And you can know them by knowing His Word, what He's promised you. He's always promised you that every season of your life will hold a purpose. Now, I want to go straight on to the next passage, verses 10 and 12. This is Joshua 14, 10 and 12. And now, behold, the Lord has kept me alive, Caleb said, for these 45 years, ever since the Lord spoke this word to Moses while Israel wandered in the wilderness. And now, he waited 40 years for this. And now, here I am today, 85 years old. Look at verse 11. I love this guy. And yet, I'm as strong this day as I was the day Moses sent me. I'm just as young. Just as my strength was then, so my strength is now for war. I can fight, both for going out and for coming in. Verse 12. Now, therefore, give me this mountain. I want the mountain. I want the hard stuff, of which the Lord spoke to me in that day. For you heard that day how the Anakim were there, and the cities of that great land were fortified. It may be that the Lord will be with me and shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord God said. Truth to live by, number two. When it comes to God's purpose, beloved, age doesn't matter at all. When God has a purpose for you, He will give you the strength to do it. I got to go on to this next one because I get excited about this. Here is Joshua 14, verses 13 to 15. And so Joshua blessed him, and he gave him Hebron to Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. Verse 14 says, Hebron, therefore, became the inheritance of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, to this day. Why? Because he wholly followed the Lord God of Israel. And the name of Hebron was formerly Kirjath Arabah. Arabah was the greatest man of Anakim. And then the land had rest from war. Wow. So truth to live by, number three, is this. God is faithful. No matter how old we are, He will fulfill our purpose if we serve Him. And the message was, with our whole heart. Look at the last line there. See that? With our whole heart. God desires our whole heart. He doesn't desire our heart just when we're young, and He doesn't desire our heart just when we're middle-aged, and He doesn't desire our heart when we're just old. He desires our heart through our whole life, when we're young, when we're in the middle age, and we're in old age. Our whole heart, that means our whole time of life on this earth. And that's what it means to serve God with your whole heart, because it not only encompasses your priorities, it encompasses your time all through your life and the seasons in it.
I don't know about you, but me, when I am reading through Joshua, the book of Joshua, when they are in the conquest period, they're going into the promised land and taking over the land, I find it a little bit difficult to be able to imagine myself in that time period. It's just so far removed from our time and from my culture. I mean, we live in a Western society, or I live in a Western society, where I don't have to fight for survival. I don't have to worry about those things. But Joshua and these men of Israel and the men who are in the surrounding areas, they're constantly under threat of attack and takeover. They have to fight for survival. Not only do they have to grow their own food, hunt their own food, take care of their own health care, take care of their children's education, but they also have to fight for survival. So because of all of these factors, it should not be surprising to us that they placed a great status on warriors.
It may not take a huge leap for many of us to believe that there was great importance placed on being a brave warrior and soldier in ancient times. Battles, wars, and takeovers were commonplace. Empires trying to expand and cities trying to survive. There were even gods of war in the various pagan religions. Assyrian and Babylonian literature hint at how men with experience in battle would gain honor, respect, and glory. But as their ideology went, those men who chose to stay home would never know the true joy of manhood. This ideology of the ancient soldier was a grand one, and no doubt, it was necessary for their military success. It's interesting then to contrast that ideology with that of King David of Israel. King David was a man famous for his victories, famous for his band of expert fighting men. In the Psalms, David gives all the victory credit to God, and he speaks against pointless fighting, pointless wars. Apparently, his military victory was achieved without promising glory to men. David's secret? To honor his God.
Is the God in your mind too small to create the vast universe? Is it necessary for you to rationalize God with the natural events of nature to make your faith comfortable? These are just some of the questions that Rod and Ryan Hembree are confronting head-on with the Bible and science. Ryan Hembree, senior producer of Quick Study Television and head of production at Studio 34, is a creation science student who has probed and investigated some of the finest scientific minds in the world, only to discover that the God of the Bible is a whole lot bigger than most Christians think. Join Rod and Ryan Hembree in this new DVD called Cosmic Mysteries Reach for the Truth, as together they explore the reality of a God big enough to create the universe we live in and more. To get your DVD, write today. P.O. Box 150, Murraysville, Pennsylvania, 15668-0150. Canada, P.O. Box 456, Orangeville, Ontario, L9W5G2. When you send $20, that'll cover our cost to get the DVD to you. Anything above $20 we'll use to keep Quick Study strong and on the air. You can call as well at 519-940-8338. Or you can call 724-733-8336. You can also order your DVD online at BibleDiscoveryTV.com. Strange but true. Places, people. Ancient scribes record amazing truth. Ancient scribes record amazing truth. The Bible reports that what we see in the world around us now is not what God intended or created. The original habitat for humanity, man and woman, was a place called Eden. The word means a place of perfect, innocent pleasure. But mankind rejected the instructions of his Creator and paid the price, leaving the protection of God, the Creator. And now the world in which we live is that unprotected place. But overcoming strength is available to those who follow God. Instructions and surrender to the ideas of the Lordship of Jesus Christ is the way we achieve it. It's commonly called the gospel.
Did you know that the word name Caleb, or Caleb, means barking dog? Now, the name of Caleb's father is Jephunneh, or Jephunneh. This is a phrase name, actually not one word, but a phrase, and it means he shall face. Now, it's intriguing that Joshua, or Caleb rather, is given the land of Hebron, inhabited by the Hittites. The land was a loud land, and it was a land of bark with no bite. So Caleb took his inheritance, and he faced the occupants head on. They were nothing but barking dogs. This is truly a prophetic name, I believe, of Caleb and his father, and it's manifest in the time of Joshua. So Caleb, son of Jephunneh, actually means he shall face nothing but barking dogs. Now, have you ever been in a situation where a dog is barking at you and you're terrified of that dog? Have you noticed that if you are not terrified, but you just start walking towards the dogs, in many cases that dog starts to back up? And so oftentimes we have the phrase, the bark is worse than the bite. And I remember a rather comedic story, and my good friend, Dave Mitchell, who lives down in Pensacola, Florida. If he's watching, Dave, you're a good man. We were young, and there was this little dog named Snowball. And it was one of those, what do you call those, white Pomeranian, whatever? And
Pomeranian.
these things were like, this thing was like, it was like really scaring us. You know, we're two big guys, football players, and this Pomeranian's going to rip up our face. We're worried about it. And so we're teasing the dog, and he's right at the end of his chain. We're teasing him, and that chain broke. Scared us. We scattered, jumped on top of his old Roadrunner car, and that dog had us on top of the car. And I said, this is crazy. My mom says, get off the car. Just walk on the dog. I got down off the car, and I started walking towards the dog, and the dog started backing up and then taking off. And I realized at that point that I did not need to be afraid, but because I showed cowardice in myself, that dog took advantage of it. And so when I read this phrase name of Caleb and his father, it reminds me of that story. Oftentimes, beloved, the demons bark at us. Yes, they do. And the fear gets us. But Jesus Christ said to us, I will never leave you or forsake you. Trust me. And we just need to learn how to praise instead of complain. And when we do that, suddenly everything in the entire situation turns around. Kind of a crude example, but there you go. Corey, we're talking about Hatzor.
Yes.
Did you have fun with that one?
Oh, it's so cool. And my favorite thing about Hatzor, honestly, is that it was a very difficult city to take over. But what's so cool is when you go down to the level that is probably the time of the judges, when Deborah and Barak went in and destroyed the city, they found idols, remnants of idols with their heads smashed off and their hands smashed off. And that it could be the direct obedience of Deborah and Barak and their army to the order in Deuteronomy by God to the Israelites to destroy the idols.
Fascinating. So there is evidence to back up that command that in the time of Judges 4 that was given.
It's like a witness to the faithfulness of Deborah and Barak all of these thousands of years later.
Wow. Someday we need to talk about the Tel Dan Stella because that is such a
cool.
divine irony. That story is hilarious. Janice, we have another Bible challenge.
Yes, we
We're
do.
calling it Bible challenge now. You ready, Corey?
Yes.
All right.
All right, here it is. Who was known as the greatest man among the Anakim? Was that Arba, Anak, or Ahiman?
What do you think?
What do I think? Again, he's passing off the question.
Remember the name
Yeah.
that was given. You
I'm-
don't remember that?
No, but
Kenneth Arba?
Wow, Dad. Wow. Okay, I'm going to go with answer number 1. Arba.
That was a good hint. That was a good hint. Yes, Joshua 14, verse 15, it was Arba, the greatest man among the Anakim.
I was never very good at keeping secrets. I always blow hints and stuff. I'm not really good at that whole thing, the surprise thing.
Which
Anyway.
comes in handy every now and again.
It does. That
have
it
to say.
does.
I have to say.
All the guys in our household, Ryan and Brandon and myself, we can't keep secrets. We're not very good at it, and we can't lie, and that's a good thing.
That's a good
That's
thing.
a very good
We
thing.
shouldn't lie,
No.
but
And
we
you
can.
shouldn't tease dogs. Otherwise, you're going to get barked at.
I know we shouldn't tease dogs.
No.
Hey, let's do Minding the
Little
Truth real quick,
Pomeranian.
Janice. Here it is. Check it out.
All right. Joshua 14, 10 through 12, and now, behold, the Lord has kept me alive, as he said, these 45 years, ever since the Lord spoke this word to Moses while Israel wandered in the wilderness, and now, here I am this day, 85 years old. As yet I am as strong this day as on the day that Moses sent me. Just as my strength was then, so now is my strength for war, both for going out and for coming in. Now therefore give me this mountain of which the Lord spoke in that day, for you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and fortified. It may be that the Lord will be with me, and I shall be able to drive them out, as the Lord said.
I suppose that his name and his character is the most used and abused name in all of human history. When he was alive, they killed him. They put him on a cross. But they couldn't keep him down. Even though he loved him, they spit on him. They beat him. They crowned him with thorns, and he bled. Today, people use his name as a swear word, make fun of him and those who follow him. But my question is, what will you do with him? His name is Jesus Christ. He won't go away because he loves you. And you may hate him, use his name as a swear word in some kind of way to get him back, but he will still forgive you. He desires that you know him. And I encourage you today that if you want to know Jesus, the real God, he was never a hypocrite, reach out and pray to him and say, Jesus, I believe you died on the cross and rose again, and I decide today to follow you. Thank you for joining us today. May I ask that you pray about becoming a regular supporter of this program? We are supported by viewers just like you. We need partners to stand with us. A partner is someone who gives regularly. Did you know you can give online, whatever God speaks to your heart, at BibleDiscoveryTV.com, BibleDiscoveryTV.com.